Most artists, when they're applying for call for artists, they don't really know what to focus on. They don't really know what the most important part of their application is. And in grant writing or any application format call for artists, all sentences are created equal, but some are more equal than others. And so as an artist, you have to know which sentences are most important so that you can put time and effort in those and make an impact, make an actual impact. My name is Dries Ketels, and in the past couple of years, I've won dozens of residencies, call for artists, prizes in general, and also in literature, short stories and poetry, won several prizes there. So I know how to write. I've won those call for artists before. Now, I'm not the best artist in the world, most definitely not, but I can definitely explain you and give you some tips on how to make your applications better. So let's dive in. But first, let's explain something about psychology of this whole process so that you can understand the principles and then apply those principles. Because if you don't understand the psychology of the panel members, of the jury members that will read your application, then how are you going to create a good application? You're not. So let's cover that. Let's say you're going on a vacation, okay? You're going on a vacation. It's a 3-day vacation to Paris. Yeah? And the 3 days are amazing. It's just simply amazing. You're going a little bit fancy, perhaps, whatever. It's amazing. You love it. You come back home. Everything's done. Now, let's go to a 6-day vacation. 7-day vacation. Let's go to a 7-day vacation. A week vacation to, I don't know, Singapore. Never been there. Don't know what you can do there. But let's say the first 6 days of your vacation are amazing. They're at least as good as the 3 days in Paris. At least. But on the last day, you miss your bus. And because of that, you also miss your flight and you have to pay extra and you have to wait in the airport for, 7 hours. Let's say you have to wait in the airport for 7 hours. So, objectively, the second vacation is better because you had 6 days of amazing fucking happiness. You had 6 amazing days compared to 3. Objectively, that's a better result. But in the real world, something else happens. And in order to understand that, we have to use the framing of Daniel Kahneman. And so he talks about this, the experiencing self vs the remembering self. Now, the experiencing self experiences a better vacation in the second vacation. It's 6 days of pure joy. But the remembering self, let's say 6 months later, talks about the second vacation as if it was worse. The remembering self, when it will present the 2 vacations to friends in a group or whatever, it will present the first vacation as more enjoyable and better. Oh yeah, the one in Paris, oh, that was just perfect. That was just the perfect, oh man, the sun was shining, blah, blah, blah. We did this and this and this and this. About the second vacation, it will say, well, it was good. But just like the last day, man, oh fuck, this and this and this happens, and they will complain. They will complain more than they will talk positive about that vacation most of the times. And so that is the remembering self at work. And Daniel Kahneman discovered that the first part of an experience and the last part of an experience have the biggest impact. If you have a 7 or even a 20-day vacation and 19 days are amazing, and the last day goes wrong, and the first day perhaps also a little bit, then you will remember that vacation as a worse vacation than a 3-day vacation to Paris. 3-day vacation to Paris is not even original. Every fucking person does it, but you will remember that vacation as much better. And so that's interesting. If we can understand that the first part of an experience and the last part of an experience have the biggest impact on our memories of that experience, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Now let me explain you something about a different field than visual arts, poetry. In poetry, there are competitions, and then the jury members talked with many of them, been there myself. They have poems on average. What is that? 10 sentences, 15 sentences, perhaps, lines. It's not even full. So they have, let's say, 10 sentences. You know what oftentimes happens in those panel boards? Even with 10 sentences, let alone a full application, or with just 10 sentences in front of them, what oftentimes happens is the following thing. They will read the first 2 sentences, the first 2 lines, and then decide if they're going to read it completely or not at all. And they turn it over. And most of the poems, they don't even read. They don't even read them. And so in poetry, we know, in the poet scene, they know that competition poems are different than other poems. Why? Because the first 2 sentences need to be nailed in order to even get a chance to be read. Oftentimes that's what happens, and that's just a little side example to emphasize the importance of the first and last part of your application. The first and last part of your application are crucially important. That's where you make the majority of your impact, almost the majority of your impact. And so you have to nail, and you have to put a lot of time and effort, more time than in any other sentence, on the first part of an answer, last part, and the first part of your application and the last part of your application. That's just a basic rule of thumb that you need to start using. In the end, it's about remembering self. If the jury panel members cannot even remember your application, then there's no chance they will bring it up in a discussion. There's no chance that they will bring it up in the review section. You want to be remembered, and the first and last part are crucial in that remembering experience. So use that information in your advantage. Now, if you want to more about writing tips and grant writing tips that will increase the chances of winning those calls for artists, winning those grants, then the best thing you could do is probably study it. The best thing you can do is probably start to learn how. And I've developed a course exactly to do that. A course where I explain every single part, every single tip, every single trick that you can imagine in the field of writing to increase your chances to win call for artists, and as a result start winning call for artists. There's a link in the description below. With that link you will get an insane discount. I think it's a discount of like 90% or something, whatever. And if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. And for the rest, if you want more tips in general about the business side of the arts, make sure you subscribe. And perhaps also like, hey, let's do this thing. If you want to have some free review by not the best artists in the world, but somebody who clearly knows what he's talking about, who won literature prizes and who won visual art prizes, then just put your first 2 sentences of your application or an answer or whatever that you're not certain of, put it in the comment section, and I will review it, and I will give my opinion on it, and I will try to improve it in a friendly, constructive way. So if you want that, definitely do that, and see you next time. Ciao.